Greetings. I am Dr. Paulina Van, author of Regala Healing, an evocative approach for self care, self understanding, and inner healing. I have the honor of hosting this show, The Poetry of Healing, and I want to welcome you from all over the world. And we'd love to know where you're joining from. So please put it in the chat if you don't mind. This month of May is globally recognized as Nurses Recognition Month and the celebration of Mother's Day. Mothers and nurses are synonymous with caring, and in most cases, overcaring. Today's program is all about us women who care for others and ignore our own personal needs. We're going to delve into ways to reinsert ourselves into our lives by finding balance. Our special guest, Dr. Erica Hopper Arana, will join us in this journey a little later in the program. So I ask you to join me and embrace the goals for this session, and I hope to guide you to explore the reasons that motivate individuals, us, to care too much or overcare. Understand why caring too much can be bad for the health and life, and learn ways to reinsert you back into your life. And of course, we're going to meditate on how to soften the effects of overcaring. We always begin with a centering exercise to help us focus and collect our energy for this time together, a time for you, a gift for yourself. So let's take a moment and settle into this space so we can be fully present. We're going to practice heart math, heart focused breathing to open our hearts. Those of you who have been with me are very familiar with this practice of heart math breathing. And so I'm going to guide you through it. For those of you that is your first time doing the practice, I'm going to just give you a tip. So we breathe in through our nose, slowly, and out through our mouth. And then we're going to focus our attention on our heart. So some of you may find it helpful to put your hand over your heart, the left side of your chest, while we breathe. Okay. So we do this exercise, heart math, heart focused breathing, to connect with our hearts. So we're going to begin by inviting you to lower your gaze or close your eyes. And if you're more comfortable, just focus on a stationary plain object if you prefer not to close your eyes. And I'd like you to imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your chest area, left side of your chest, breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. So you're going to inhale through your nose 5 seconds and imagine your heart getting bigger, that beautiful heart of yours getting bigger each time you inhale. And then it's going to get smaller as you exhale through your mouth. So let's try it. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, some of you may not be able to hold your breath that long, so you can do it on a count of 4. And those athletic types can extend it to 6. And so take one of those breaths on your own. In and out. Yes. And now I'm going to ask you to take one deep breath to notice you are here. Take one deep breath to notice how your body feels. And now take one deep breath and enter the session. For those viewers who are just joining us, I am Dr. Paulina Van, the author of Regala Healing, and I'm the host of the show, The Poetry of Healing. And we've just completed a centering or brief meditation exercise. The show segment, title, and topic today is Overcare. And I invite you to reflect on the following question. Thinking about your life, is it possible that you're caring too much? Is it possible that you have cared too much or will care too much? Is it possible to care too much? When we think of overcaring, the first folks that come to mind may be lay or informal caregivers in homes, perhaps your own situation. It makes sense since more than 65 million adults in the United States take care of an adult who is elderly, chronically ill, or disabled loved one, or even children. This number may be similar or higher in other parts of the world. Our need to care for and to give love and care to others seems to be a natural human instinct. Caring for someone else is a demonstration of our love. As care, as as good as it feels to care for someone, for many people, it can also become a source of stress and be emotionally draining. Therefore, I ask the question again: is it possible to care too much? And myself, me as a Black woman, is going to tell you or will say yes, 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 many, many times. You and me are motivated to overcare for others for several reasons, which we may not have thought about or even want to own. So, right now, I'll share a few possible reasons and see if you can relate to any of them. And it's okay. You don't have to tell anyone. It's just you looking inside yourself and seeing if any of this relates to you. Last time I did speak with you, we talked about the inner voice. We've been talking about the inner voice and intuition and how to go inside ourselves. So you can look at some of those previous programs. But here we go. We overload ourselves with other people's problems, perhaps as a distraction from our own pain, worries, burdens, and stressors. If we worry about or deal with other people's problems, then we don't have to deal with our own. We may be worried that family members and coworkers couldn't manage without us. We want people in our life to lean on us, satisfying our need to be needed or feel important. When we don't have anyone needing us, we may start to feel empty and lack purpose. This mindset may lead to us insisting on helping someone even if they don't want it, don't ask for it, or don't even need your help. Overcaring is not just among caregivers, either lay or licensed caregivers. It can happen in parent child relationships, parent adult child relationships, work, and romantic relationships. Now, we're going to move on from romantic relationships because I could stay on that one all show long because I've done my share of overcaring in romantic relationships when I was single. So, what's the danger of overcaring? Overcaring can cause a host of problems: physical, emotional, social, that impact the quality and the joy in our lives. And it may show up as symptoms and conditions such as fatigue, headaches, insomnia, hypertension, depression, addictive behaviors, even broken relationships, and for professionals, burnout. Our special guest today posted an article about overcare on Facebook, on her Facebook page. And after I read it, I said, I do this and I don't talk about it. And I know that others are struggling with it as well. And when I read the definition of overcare, that is an emotional habit that causes those symptoms I shared with you earlier, and that it happens when the mind and the emotions cross the line, of balanced care. And when someone gets too attached to whomever, whatever you're caring about, I said, this is a topic I need to bring forth in this platform. And so I'd like to invite Dr. Erica Hooper Rana to join us. We are really so much alike. We have very similar academic history and career history, but more importantly, an affinity to holistic healing practices. So she is, like me, a Caritas coach, heart math certified trainer. She's also a Reiki practitioner. And then, in addition, she is a massage practitioner, a life and spiritual coach, and personal trainer. So let's see if Erica has joined us. Well, she hasn't joined us yet.
I'm
So, oh,
here. Hello.
hello. Well,
There.
welcome.
Yes.
I am so glad to see you, and thank you for joining us today. And thank you so much for bringing this topic to my attention.
Yes.
And so I want us to jump right in. And you heard my introduction to you, and I hope you felt it in your heart because you're very special. And so I'd like you to, I believe I did tell the audience and viewers that you are a registered nurse as well and have been one for 20 years. And I told them we follow the same path academically and, of course, holistically. And so I want to jump right into the topic and ask you, what has your experience been overcaring? And I ask you to start with overcaring as a nurse since we are in Nurses Month.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's so great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And my experience has been that overcaring is kind of the culture in nursing. So going through nursing school, it was always, my mission was to care for others. That's why I went into nursing. And then the nursing profession fed that to me, keep caring, provide service, do your best for others, help people, right? And that was the message coming in all angles. And so I feel like in nursing, when I was in the profession, I just wanted to help and I wanted to
Mhm,
care and I wanted to give of myself to the highest power, right?
mhm,
And so everything I did was around that. And I think I was definitely in the bandwagon, in the back seat. And it took me some time to get to the point where I had given everything
mhm.
in every area of my life, and I had nothing left to give. I came to that point.
Would you give us an example and whatever you want to share? I tend to be very transparent, and but please share an example of you overcaring so we can connect to the viewers.
Yes, I would say for me, it was a giving beyond what I had in my cup. So I was pouring from an empty cup essentially,
Mhm,
and not just in nursing, but in my life. I think I just became a caretaker of those around me.
mhm,
Nursing, the culture itself became a part of my being and who I was and my persona. And so
mhm,
anyone that needed caring, I was giving. And it was for me, overcaring was not overlooking my own feelings. Maybe I was feeling sick, maybe I
mhm,
was feeling tired, maybe I wasn't feeling my best, but still giving and continuing that. Oh, I have to show up to work. I've got to be there. I
mhm.
have to do this. Oh, my coworker's not gonna have me there, everything's gonna fall apart, and trying to hold it together when I wasn't necessarily at my best and I wasn't filling my cup.
Absolutely. Well, I'll just share that my overcaring, it seems as if I was wired that way because I remember, and now I'm going back decades, but I remember when my mother's friends might visit and I was playing with my Chatty Cathy. And those of you who are my age will remember Chatty Cathy. I don't think we have Chatty Cathy now, but and I cared for her. I mean, I rocked her, and and her friends would say, "Oh my gosh, she's such a caring, individual and pays attention to such detail. And so as a young child, I remember that. And then I've carried it into my adulthood because I didn't feel loved as a child. And
Mhm.
so I felt that if I showed caring in return, that would bring love. And what I found, either, I'm making visits when I'm extremely tired, or I'm on a phone call when I really should be having my dinner, those kinds of things. I always put myself last. And
Mhm.
what I found was that at times, this caring or overcaring, because I believe in caring, caring is love, but overcaring people took as, how can I say, a weakness,
Mhm.
okay? And took advantage, took advantage of my overcaring. So that's one of the downsides to overcaring. But the biggest is not caring for yourself.
Mhm.
And so I'd like to ask you, what have you found? What's one tip that you have found helpful to kind of manage, balance, care, and overcaring, and still keeping yourself centered and whole?
Yes, yes. Well, I think that the biggest thing was really I had to first undo a lot of blocks of just how I needed to show up in the world. And I had to really look inside and, like you said, what is it? What is it that needs to be healed that's keeping me in that mindset and in that mode? So I had to do a lot of healing and undoing of things to find my authentic self and to almost give me permission to care for me, permission to acknowledge my feelings,
Mhm.
and permission to say no or to stop and do what it is that I need and what I wanted at the moment and without feeling guilty.
Absolutely. And I'll share mine. One of the biggest things, and I will say, I'm, I'm, I am a work in progress. So once you adopt something that's going to bring you to balance, it doesn't keep you in balance because the next experience presents itself where you can overcare, especially if that's what you really want to do in your heart. And so one of the things that I have adopted, and it was hard, but I say no more often. Okay. Even when I want to say yes, I say no. And I have found that to be very helpful. And that's no at work,
Mhm.
no at home, no with family. And, there can be kind of like a backlash because people may have gotten used to your caring at their convenience,
Mhm.
and so now, no, it's at my convenience, and I'm going to help you if it's going to take you to the next level. So, when I cook for you, I'm using this as an analogy. When I cook for you, I'm just not going to cook and serve you. I'm going to give you the recipe and show you the way. So one of the things you chose a couple of my poems, and I wanted to know which one you wanted to talk about and ask me a question about. But I also wanted to know what was it that resonated with you in the poem that led you to want to talk to me about it.
Yes, I chose I'm in my flow on page 43.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to read it because there may be
Mhm.
um, viewers that are not familiar with the poem. And so, for those of you who have my book, Regala Healing, it's on page 43 in the physical book and 35 on the ebook that's available on Amazon. So it's called In My Flow. And Dr. Rana, I want to say to you that I looked this up and I wrote it exactly 2 years ago tomorrow. So
Oh,
this very early in my journey. Okay.
wow.
So I'm in my flow.
Mhm.
I'm in my flow with natural ease. I'm in my flow just not to please. I'm in my flow, compassionate and caring. I'm in my flow and even daring. I'm in my flow with a heart full of joy. I'm in my flow, and it's not a ploy. I'm in my flow, my soul rejoices. I'm in my flow with unlimited choices. So tell us what resonated in that poem for you?
Yes. Well, I love the line, I'm in my flow just not to please, right? I think a lot of overcaring is in pleasing others, doing for others, making them feel good. And it's like, so I can actually be in a flow and I don't have to be pleasing. It can actually bring my heart joy and it can make my soul rejoice. And that's being in flow. And then I have the choice, right, of what I wanna do, that I could stop, I could pause, I could care for myself, I could care for my needs, uh,
Mhm,
don't have to respond right away to others.
mhm, mhm. So what did you wanna ask me about that particular?
Yes, I'm curious, how do you know when you're in your flow and when you're not? And how do you overcome those obstacles that might block you from being in your flow?
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Again, a work in progress, but when I'm in my flow, my my whole body, so my body, mind, and soul seem to be at rest, at peace. There is this warmth that just immerses itself in the way I speak, in the thoughts. My thoughts are positive. I don't feel a heavy weight on my shoulder. I don't feel rushed. And so I'm in this kind of nirvana kind of place. And I just uh, flow with the things I have to do for that day. My to do list isn't 2 pages long.
Mm,
You know, it's realistic.
mhm,
And so the way I stay in my flow, I do a number of things, but meditation definitely is one. Um, and then when I have thoughts that are not nurturing, I turn them around deliberately. So I'm paying attention to my thoughts.
mhm,
And, you are enough. This is a, this is a great day. Not it's going to be a great day. This is a great day. And
yes.
of course, I wrote a poem about this. I roll out of bed onto my knees and I pray. And
Mhm,
I set the intention for today.
mhm.
So, Dr. Hooper Arana, I am just so thrilled that you joined us today and brought this topic to the surface. Is there any last tip that you'd like to give to our audience or inspirational? I know you come from the heart. That's your mantra. You come from the heart. And I'm going to read, you chose that one too, but we don't have time to talk about it. But I'm going to read it as we close the program today. But is there any one tip that you'd like to just share?
Yes, I would say be patient in the process of caring for you and making time for you.
Okay, okay. Well, you're welcome to stay as I do the closing because I'm going to do uh, a couple of heart math exercises to help us to soften the effects of overcaring. Okay, all right. And so um, we're we're used to doing heart math. We do heart focused breathing. We've done lock in, and right now, what I'd like to do is teach you at least one. I'll see if we have time for two, but they're very short. And these heart math exercises are will help us to shift out of overcare. Okay. So again, I'd like you to just you can lower your gaze or close your eyes because I'm going to ask you to go inside yourself and start feeling. It's usually easier, but you don't have to. You can do this with your eyes open. And so I'd like you to first take a nice deep heart breath. In through your nose and expand the heart, and then out through your mouth. Okay. And I'd like you to identify what you're feeling. Okay, what you're feeling right now that's slowing down your emotional energy. Okay, that's running through your system. Is it worry? Is it anxiety? Is it hurt? Now, I'd like you to notice and admit what you're feeling and try to name it. Okay. I'll tell you, my heart is hurting because a family member's critically ill. And so that's what I'm going to focus on. And so I'd like you to tell yourself ease, ease, as you gently focus your attention in the area of your heart. And then relax as you breathe in and out. Again, put that feeling in your heart and breathe and say, ease the stress out. And I'm going to take time to do one more because this one's short as well. It's another heart math practice. It's called attitude breathing. And attitude breathing is a tool to help you shift out of an emotional draining state and back to a balanced state of care. Okay? So here we go. Recognize an unwanted attitude, a feeling or attitude that you want to change. This could be overcare, anxiety, self judgment, guilt, anger, disappointment, impatience, negativity. Identify and breathe a replacement attitude, okay? And it's going to be a positive attitude, such as joy, peace, abundance, faith, gratitude, kindness, honesty. Then breathe that feeling, that new attitude, slowly and casually through your heart area. And then just do this for a little while to anchor that new feeling. As we close, Dr. Bryant Robinson wrote an article in the Forbes about overcaring and then balancing. And he said, you know you're genuinely caring when you have an unselfish desire to give without making others overly dependent on you or taking away their ability to care for themselves. You give only as much as that is needed, and sometimes you even let people fall without rescuing them because success is built on failure. By leaving problems with their rightful owners, and I want to repeat that, by leaving problems with their rightful owners, you allow people to grow by finding their own solutions. Some of the best lessons come from learning your own mistakes. I found a number of resources helpful, and I will put them in the chat. And I'd like to read one more short poem that Dr. Hooper Rana selected, and that we didn't have time to read today. And it's called I Found My Heart. It's on page 67 in the physical book. I found my heart, not from the start. I found my heart. I had to be smart. I found my heart, guided by faith. I found my heart, and it wasn't too late. I found my heart, and that was my faith. So I ask you to join me every first and third Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific time right here on blackdoctor.org. I'd like you to share this program if you found it helpful and you know someone who's overcaring. Leave comments. I do read them and respond to your questions. Subscribe so that you'll know when new programming is available. Visit my site at regalahealing.com to learn more about my healing and self care work and resources. I'll also provide in the chat contact information for Dr. Hooper Arana. And then I want to thank you for joining us today.
Well,
And
thank you.
um, as always, I wish you love and light until I see you the next time.